Hello there, and welcome to CN Extra here on Citi TV, coming to you live from our studios at number 5 Ola Hansen Lane, Tesano, Accra. My name is Philip Ni Latte. Coming up, some hospitals in the South and North Ton district remain closed following floods from Akosombo Dam spillage, putting pressure on hospitals still in operations in the area.
We are saying that we would start off by building some of these centers for them.
Shelter.
Now, the shelter.
Citi FM and Citi TV's relief support for Akosombo Dam spillage victims enter phase 2 with plans to build shelter for affected residents.
We used to see close to averagely 150 OPD attendance.
We are saying that we would start off by building some of these centers for them.
Shelter.
Now, the shelter is a dormitory style.
Funeral service of the late Gamanyana Dede Omado III in jeopardy after interim injunction.
Our elders at the traditional council, the committee, have refused to reason with us. And it has shown that people are using power rather than the law.
And later on, CNI Extra concerned citizens of Tema withdrawal lawsuit threat as city authorities pledge to protect Tema Children's Park and Library.
Because if you go to court today, let's be frank, if we go to court today and then the authorities are called or they are adjoined to the suit and then they come in and they say, we are willing to do what they are saying, there's no case. We'll be asked to go and mediate. So before you go to court, you obviously would mediate.
CNI Extra is live on Citi TV. You can join us with your thoughts, submissions, and comment via WhatsApp line 0204 447033. We also streaming live on Facebook. You can join us there on Citi TV. Jude Mensa Kanu, welcome to the show. How are you doing, my brother?
I'm doing very well, Philip. It's always a pleasure.
I like your jacket.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure to be here.
The economy is not having a toll on you at all.
It is actually. Funny enough, it is. But I mean, we are trying to do the little we can to, and God is on our side.
God is on our side. That's true. Let's begin the very first one. And management of Citi FM and Citi TV has escalated or taken the relief items or plans to get the affected victims of the Akosombo Dam spillage some respite to next level. The management has put in plans that some shelter will be built for the affected persons. Let's bring you this insert.
Management of Citi FM and Citi TV has escalated its relief support for affected residents of Lower Volta following the spillage of the Akosombo Dam. The managing director of Citi FM and Citi TV, Samuel Atta-Mensah, announced phase 2 of the relief efforts, which focuses on building shelters to help resettle the affected residents. There is more in the following report.
After weeks of donating essential items to assuage the plights of thousands of affected residents along the Volta River, management of Citi FM and Citi TV says there is a need to change focus to a long-lasting solution. The phase 2 of the campaign involves building structures that will accommodate the displaced residents. Managing Director of Citi FM and Citi TV, Samuel Atta-Mensah, announced that the groundbreaking ceremony for the commencement of the project will happen tomorrow, October 26, 2023.
We are saying that we would start off by building some of these centers for them.
Shelters.
Now, the shelter is a dormitory style, which will contain in total up to 200 or so people. Okay, so we are doing the first one at Tokpo in the Shai Osudoku district.
Which was the first place we visited officially.
Exactly.
Where we had to cross the river to enter the village.
That's correct.
Where they are sleeping in classrooms without windows and doors.
Without windows.
No sanitary. Some of them are sleeping on the bare
toilet
floor.
Facilities.
It was just terrible.
Nothing.
So the first, so you've spoken to the community, you already have the land.
Yes.
So the first project is at Tokbo.
Yes.
Among donors for today is cement production company Supercem, which donated 1,000 bags of cement towards phase 2 of the city relief campaign.
So no more 10 you are a cement company.
Exactly.
Okay. So you are supporting our campaign
Yes.
with cement.
With cement, yes. And you know, cement is actually the main thing that you need in building. So at least if we are building, then we also have to be parts in the dream. So we are not just supporting with maybe the 10 bags or maybe the 15 bags, but we are supporting with the whole truck of cement.
Which is how many?
So give us actually 1,000 bags of cement.
The Jatta Foundation, a CSR wing of the Office of the MP for Lingo Prampram, Sam George, also donated 10,000 Ghana cedis and assorted items to support the relief campaign of Citi FM and Citi TV. Here is the Chief Executive of the Jatta Foundation, Vera George, sharing with the City Breakfast Show team the donations of the foundation.
We came here with our widow's mites. We came with 400 kilos of rice, 10 tomatoes, some sardines, and 10,000 Ghana cedis.
The Lingo Prampram MP Samuel George commended Citi FM and Citi TV for filling the void created by the state.
And seeing firsthand is different from watching on videos that people have taken. Seeing the heights of the water and seeing how the people are living. And the fact that Citi is actually acting as our national response mechanism to this problem. Wow. It's a failing on our part collectively as political class, government, all of us. Because what Citi has done so far and rallied around, I don't see any response in that mechanism. If you didn't feel in this space, I mean, I don't know what would have happened to the people in those communities. At least they have some semblance of humanity thanks to what you have done. And so Citi continue to be that initial response mechanism until as a people and as a country we put something in place. But God bless you.
Fletcher family have touched hearts after they broke their piggy banks to donate a cash amount of 1,000 Ghana cedis and assorted items to support Citi FM and Citi TV's relief campaign for affected residents of Lower Volta. The siblings below age 15 say they were touched watching the plight of the residents affected by the spillage of the Akosombo Dam, hence their show of love. They encouraged other children and listeners to help touch lives through Citi FM and Citi TV's relief campaign.
Imagine just sitting there looking at 50% in your piggy bank and say, I'm going to
Imagine sitting there watching people suffer, not doing anything to them.
So
how would you feel?
So saving has helped you not to be helpless.
Yes.
Wow. So what do you say to other children listening to the show?
Well, I would like to say all the other children out there, I believe that we are the world. We are the children.
We are the ones to make a better place. So we should start giving.
Wow.
Because if we have, people should also be able to have. Because it's not fair having if we have basic things and others don't have basic things.
Because the flood affected children as well. Yeah. Children of our age. So if we have and they are like us, why shouldn't they have?
Because they are one of us. Yes. They are us. And they are also human beings.
So you've brought money from your piggy bank to donate to the Citi FM campaign.
Yes.
So which is sending support.
So which specific items have you brought? I'm told that you went to the market or you sent your auntie or your mother to go out there.
We went
Tell us
with
about
them
that.
to show them the things we wanted to buy.
Yeah. We got tissues, rice, Milo, soap, toothbrushes, toothpaste, spaghetti, and like underwear.
Join the likes of Express Pay that today donated 20,000 Ghana cedis, Petrosol, EWN, 10,000 Ghana cedis among other corporates by donating to Omni Media Limited via 0550 900 006 with the reference flood support.
And we always say a very big thank you to individuals, to corporate entities that are donating to this particular good initiative that Citi FM, Citi TV has started. Mind you, the groundbreaking ceremony for the Topo Center, that is a resettlement center, will be done today. and we are looking forward that we bring you all the actions or all the updates concerning that. Today on the City Breakfast Show, a company came in that is Ghana Petroleum Morning System, a leading figure in the energy sector, donated 200,000 Ghana cedis and 30,000 Ghana cedis worth of for water and all that. So it tells you that people are really interested in what is happening, so that at least we save lives of individuals whose homes have been displaced or destroyed by this particular Akosombo Dam spillage. And I tell you for a fact that Citi FM, Citi TV has made the point that all the monies that are being brought in will be used judiciously. One of them is the resettlement center that will be constructed, starting with Topo.
Yeah, I mean, and today we understand management and some select staff are there to begin the sword cutting for that really bold initiative. And of course, like I've always said, all that we are witnessing really is a testament to the extraordinary leadership over here. So much that people trust that their donations and their items that they are giving away, and very importantly, their monies will be used judiciously to serve the interest of all those who have been affected by the VRA spilling. I mean, Philip, it's really, really sad if you go to these communities and witness for yourself at first hand the level of devastation that has happened in some of the communities. And I mean, I was listening to Mr. Samuel Ataman's on the morning show, I think yesterday, and he made a point that, see, for some of the communities, there's no turning back. So if some people are somewhere thinking that maybe the water will recede and they can go back to their old ways, go back to their homes and have their lives back again, it won't happen, because some of them are island communities and they've been totally consumed by the water that was spilled. So, I mean, these are really extraordinary times, not normal times for them at all. And it is very important that a settlement like this, a resettlement like this, is put in place. I listened to Sam George on the morning show, and he also made the same point. He says that, see, he had seen the videos on TV, he had seen some on social media, but going there gives you a different feel of the situation on the ground. I mean, going there shows you how serious the situation is. And he commended Citi FM, Citi TV for being what he called that national mechanism response to the situation. And like I've always said, when people trust you, they'll go along. We always say media has the convening power and rallying power. They're able to bring people together along for a particular cause. But it is more useful when that media house has the credibility and the integrity backed together with it to push such an initiative. And you see people bring 200,000 Ghana cedis like we saw today, people promising to take care of the cabling needs of the resettlement, people donating cement bags, liters of fuel. All of this is because they trust the leadership, right? So everything revolves around leadership. I don't want to make comparisons, but not too long ago, when government also embarked on the National Patriotic trying to rally support for people to donate, we saw the outcome of it, right? And this was even supposed to be a Christian initiative. So clearly, I believe strongly that everything rises and falls on leadership. Citi FM, Citi TV's management have showed extraordinary leadership in these times to be able to push such a bold initiative. I really hope that a lot more corporate bodies will jump on this, will see it as part of their corporate social responsibilities. And even ordinary Ghanaians, I mean, it's just sending a donation if you can chip in something small. And I'm sure you'll be able to put a smile on the faces of people in these communities.
If you want to make your donations available, you can come to Citi TV, that is located at Tesano, adjacent to the Crystal Palm Hotel Annex, and also Citi FM, behind the Adabraka police station. Let's help the victims who have been displaced. Away from this story, but still with the Akosombo Dam spillage, some hospitals within the South and North Tongue district are yet to resume after the disaster that has happened in the area. Let's bring you that insight.
While the Komboni Hospital at Sogakope in the South Tongue District and the Vume Clinic in the North Tongue District are yet to resume operations, even though water has receded in the two health facilities. These two were inundated by flood waters 2 weeks ago following the spillage of the Akosombo Dam. In the case of the Vume Clinic, the assembly member for the area, Gabriel Kwame Beshi, said they are uncertain about the date it will be opened. Citi News' Fred Duho has more in the following report.
Barely few weeks ago, the entire area of the Richard Novati Hospital, popularly known as Komboni Hospital, in the Sogakope district of South Town. As we speak, the place is getting dry, water has receded. The entire stretch that connects to the hospital was flooded some days ago. But today, luckily enough, we can see that the place is getting dry, and the only thing that is absent is the usual numbers of patients that troop in here basically to access health care. Now, we see that I think hospital staff are coming around one after the other to put certain things in order. So you see the OPD and the ambulance bay 1 over here, and the place currently is empty. Not a single person is here to access healthcare. We see the laboratory and the triage area, or the laboratory consulting room for all of these places are currently empty, and there is no one here to access healthcare. We do not know when they intend to start operation, but this is the aftermath of the flooding situation experienced in the South Tongue district. Now, this door is locked, which is the dressing room. We have consulting room 3, which is also under lock and key. We see where the nurses normally sit to check vitals of patients. The place is also empty. The fan is here, and almost everything you can think of. We see another records. This place should be a place of concern to this hospital. When all is said and done, they would have to check if the records of patients have been kept safe, and if nothing has gone wrong. So generally, the entire facility is deserted. The place is totally quiet, and they are now going to take stock of the things that went wrong, and probably if they can come back and then procure certain things to begin operation. So this is the Komboni Hospital in the Sogakope, the capital of South Town district. The X-ray department is also locked. In effect, this place, nothing is happening. We see the optical department also here. The hospital is just at the bank of the Volta River. So when the water came rising into various premises, the hospital was also affected greatly. And so, understandably so, they had no option than to close their operations to the public. So here you see the Volta Lake or river is receding gradually, and that is how come. Thank you. And that is how come we see a gentleman also seated there. I think he's fishing or something. And this is the water station for the hospital in terms of their to satisfy their water needs. So right here, you see the water pumping station also shut down to other critical services. Behind me is the bungalow for the hospital staff of the Komboni Hospital, and due to the flooding, almost all the staff have evacuated from their premises and taken shelter elsewhere. We understand that until the hospital begins operation, they may not come back anytime soon. We see that the flood has left a number of traces behind, evidence of the fact that the entire place was inundated with flood when the dam was spilled. This place is just not too far from the hospital, and these are the bungalows. We see a gentleman who is a staff of the hospital trying to tidy up. Has the hospital resumed?
No, please, we haven't resumed yet.
Have you received any information as to when it will resume?
We have a meeting this coming Friday and then Monday, so as at then, we don't know anything yet.
What toll is this hospital closure taking on you, in particular, in some of the patients, probably if you've spoken to any of them?
Oh, okay. So it is really making an impact because, which is a negative though, because some of our clients still comes because they still don't believe that Komboni is being shut down. So they still comes, and then we still have to send them back to the district hospital. And me also, as a staff over here, especially the IGS staffs too, we also had no impact, because since we are on a hospital payroll and then the hospital is not working, the hospital is not going to get money to pay us.
So the numbers you see here at the outpatients department at the Sogape District Hospital is overwhelming due to the closure of the Komboni Hospital. A number of patients from those catchment areas would have to now move to the district hospital to access healthcare, and that is putting a certain level of pressure or strain on the resources of this particular hospital, and they are asking for some level of support to be able to attend to the numbers that are coming in. Now let's go speak to the head of the hospital administration, Samuel Omega, to tell us what the experience has been and what they are doing about the situation so far.
Before the spillage, we used to see close to averagely 150 OPD attendance. Yeah, that has been the situation, and we've not had this pressure then. The pressure seems to have increased than before. All right, so after the spillage now, we have 200 to 250 in attendance every day. So the numbers have increased, and admissions has also increased. We have a bed capacity of about 68. Currently, on admission, we have about 87 in admission. So we have to resort to receiving some of the patients on the floor with mattresses. So now that the numbers have increased, we have pressure on the available resources we have to operate or to run services.
And the number of, I see a number of students also coming through with some conditions, and some of them are also mothers who are caring for their babies. Let's speak to a mother here who has come with her baby. Ma'am, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
What's your full name?
My name is Abuado Evelyn.
Okay. What are you here to do? I know obviously for health services, but what specifically do you need in terms of service?
Well, my daughter is ill and myself, so that is why we are here.
For how long have you been here? Have they attended to you yet?
Not yet. I came here somewhere around 11, thereabouts. So I'm yet to hear my name to be mentioned.
At what stage are you now in the process?
The first stage. This is actually my first time of coming here.
Now let's speak to the health superintendent or the medical superintendent to tell us, in terms of the conditions people are coming with, what exactly are they recording so far? What will you say are the frequent situations people are bringing in, or the recurrent conditions people are coming with?
Okay, currently we are receiving chronic cases like hypertension, diabetes, and those with asthma. Because of the flooding situation, they can't really get access to their medications, because most of the medications that they are on have been flooded. So they come in with like high BP, that some result in a stroke. And aside that, the pregnant women are trying to deliver at home, and some come during that they come in with bleeding and all those things that we have to do our best to save the situation. As for a diarrhea condition,
so these hospitals are hoping that they would begin operations soon, because the number of individuals visiting the hospitals is increasing. I think that if that is the situation, I think some attention should also be paid to the hospitals. Maybe the Volta Regional Health Directorate is doing something for them, and also the Ghana Health Service, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, Philip, when we went there on Saturday, I believe, we went with a team of medical doctors and nurses, and they were to also offer some health screening together with the donation of relief items Citi FM, Citi TV through our listeners and viewers were given to these members or displaced persons in the communities. And it was interesting. I mean, some of the interviews they granted my colleagues, Richard Sky and Fred Duho, I mean, talk about the fact that people are now having to even deal with mental and psychological health issues. They are facing hypertension, depression. Aside the fears of disease spreading, because mind you, we heard that public toilets had been submerged, cemeteries had been submerged. So there were concerns about how this was fast becoming a health crisis. Mind you, it started as a flooding problem, then became a humanitarian crisis. Then, of course, because of some of the submersion of the public toilets and cemeteries, public health concerns became rife in these communities. And now we also have to deal with these issues. We speak to some of the residents there, and they are very much afraid. They still harbor in some fear, because when they take their minds back to some of the scenes that happened when the floods, the water was coming into their rooms, it puts them in a very, very precarious situation. So it's not surprising at all. And now, as a result of the flooding, some hospitals and health centers have to close down completely. So what's happened is that it's put pressure on existing health facilities that are running in the area. And of course, it's to be expected. When the demand is high, it puts pressure, and now it makes everything even much more difficult in terms of running the facility. Thankfully, I saw that the Ghana Health Service, through its their leader, Dr. Patrick Kumar-Boaje, over the weekend or early this week, was in parts of the community. He was in North Tong and other areas assessing the situation on the ground. I heard him say that no outbreak whatsoever has happened yet, but I've not seen him go to other communities that have been affected. So, for instance, there's New Bakpa in the Central Town District. There's also Mafia Klamado, who are also having their challenges there. So I think a comprehensive health report on the situation is needed so that the next line of action could be taken. But I mean, it's a very, very serious and precarious situation in there. You could sense the sigh of relief from the displaced persons in the communities when we arrived with a medical team and medication for their needs. And the queues for the queue for those who wanted some health care was as long as those who were going in for food and other stuff. So clearly you could tell that there's a psychological problem there. People are afraid. The severe nature of the flooding has had a toll on their lives, on their health in general. So it's important that we look at all of these things when trying to find a long-lasting solution for persons displaced as a result of the flooding.
Definitely. So the various authorities are taking some cue out of this and ensure that the right things are done in the various hospitals away from the Akosombo Dam spillage stories. The funeral service of the late Gamanya Nade Omadu III is in jeopardy after an interim injunction. Let's bring you that insight.
The funeral service for late Gamanya Nade Omadu III is in limbo following an interim injunction secured against the ceremony. The service was scheduled for this weekend, but the latest injunction has put the ceremony in jeopardy. There is more in this report.
7 persons close to the family have gone to court over the funeral. Court documents cited by Citi News show that the organizers of the funeral have been restrained from going ahead with the funeral for the next 10 days. The court has hereby ordered defendants, respondents of the funeral committee, chaired by Neo Tinto II, all members of the committee, their PVs, workmen, assigns, and all persons working through them are restrained from handling, organizing, touching, performing, or dealing with the remains of the late Queen Mother Nade Omadu III in any manner for a period of 10 days. Abdul Salam is the executive secretary to the family of the late Nade Omadu III.
Our elders at the Traditional Council, the committee, have refused to reason with us. And it has shown that people are using power rather than the law. And we have been told, time without number, that the mortal remains of our mother and queen belongs to the state. And continuously, we have been told of this. But the fact is, the corpse or the mortal remains is not, that is the position of the law, it's not that of the state. It belongs to the wider family. And here we are talking about Nade Omadu's family. And so it is our job as a family to also invite the Traditional Council, because it is from this family that we elected and installed our mother and gave her out for service to the state.
Meanwhile, the funeral committee of the late Gamanye says the funeral will be carried out as planned. Advisor to the committee, Ni Ayikwe Otu, says the committee and the Ghana Traditional Council is unaware of the court order.
But you have told me that you'll be handing over the body to the Asafua chairman, which means that there's a body required for the funeral on Saturday. Which body would be?
The coffin will be taken round.
Empty coffin?
After the we'll hand over the coffin to the Asafua chairman. That is what is done everywhere. Remember,
but earlier you said body, now you said coffin. I want to understand. Does it mean you'll be using an empty coffin?
That we are dealing with a royal. Remember that we are dealing with a royal. We parade the coffin all the time. Let's see what happens.
No problem.
It's not yet time. It's for 10 years.
Yes. 13/25.
Goes to take an intention without serving me. I don't even know what the
but it's ex parte. You're a lawyer. You know how ex parte applications work.
And you are telling me about it. And you expect me to understand everything, even when I've not been said. Don't know what you're about.
That's fine.
When they serve us, so we deal with it.
Leadership of the Greater Accra Market Association has announced that all traders within the region will not be working from Thursday, October 25 to Saturday, October 28, 2023. President of the Greater Accra Markets Association, Mercy Na Afrowadnijan, explained that this decision is a mark of respect for the late Queen Mother, Nadede Omadru III.
We were told formally that it will be 3 days. It is just recently that they decided it to be 1 day. But already we have made every arrangements for the 3 days. And we found that we have worked throughout the years. So this is time for us to have some holiday, enough time to mourn our mother. So that is what we...
So we'll pair my conversation with the president of the Greater Accra Markets Association president. He said that they are going to rest. Though the Ghana Traditional Council, the funeral committee, made mention of the fact that the closure of the shops and also not working at the various markets is only on Saturday, 28th. They planned to go off work from Thursday because that was the plan initially. So they are not working. My question to her also was, is it the entire Greater Accra region? She says that yes, the entire Greater Accra region. So all markets women should adhere to that particular directive, and just individuals who are selling food, pharmacies, mobile money, and the essential service providers will be working. Now let's come back to the court injunction. I spoke to the Ghana Traditional Council this morning. I called the head of media this morning, asking him if the Traditional Council or the funeral committee has received the court injunction. Per my information, they haven't received it, and the funeral is going on as planned because the advisor to the committee, to the funeral committee, Ni Ayikwe Otu, who spoke on Eyewitness News yesterday, made mention of the fact that they are going ahead with the funeral. The family of Nadede Omadru III is saying that they have been sidelined throughout this entire process. It's becoming very interesting with this particular thing, but it looks like, from all indication, the funeral will be carried out.
I mean, Philip, first of all, our sincere condolences to the Gaman chair and the entire Ghana state for the passing of their beloved Queen Mother, Nadede Omadru III. I mean, it's unfortunate every time someone passes. It's very sad. I live close to the
yeah, very close.
I live close to the Gamanche Palace, so I've seen the kind of work that has been put in place to ensure she's given a befitting burial. And when some of these things happen, it's also an opportunity to showcase the rich culture of the Ghana state. I'm hoping that all factions who are feeling sidelined, in the words on the interview, when Sanders spoke with the family of the late Queen Mother, who, I mean, they said that they feel sidelined in everything that is happening. I hope that they are able to resolve their issues. The funeral committee is able to bring everybody together, so they move on a clean slate, right? And every outstanding issue resolved. A lot has gone into this funeral, from when the president in June this year opened the book of condolence by signing it. Up until now, so many things have happened. A lot has gone into it. So many people paid courtesy call. So it will be very unfortunate if it doesn't go ahead as planned. So I'm hoping that the funeral committee, together with all the relevant stakeholders, between now and tomorrow later, should be able to come together, resolve their differences, and go ahead with the funeral as planned. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people will be looking forward to it, not only because of the significance of the person involved, but also because of the rich cultural heritage of the Ghana state. So I believe that all issues will be resolved amicably for everything to be put in place so the funeral can go ahead. Myself, I'm looking forward to it. I hope to learn a thing or two about Ghana culture when everything is done. But so far, so good. I've seen quite a cordially held organization of the processes so far, and I hope that everything can be put in place.
We'll be monitoring activities at the Ghana Traditional Council, also the funeral committee and the stakeholders involved in this particular funeral. Importantly, is people asking where the boundaries and where the shops will be closed. From our indication from the Ghana Traditional Council and the funeral committee is the entire Greater Accra region. So you may want to be very careful about what activities will be done.
It's great that they exclude some essential services, right? So pharmacies, hospitals, and the likes will still operate. My only concern is that I think the communication has not gone down well. The closure of roads. So today, for instance, you realize that they blocked the road from the dance bar on the North Kaneshie stretch leading to the Ghana Palace. Then at the junction
of Total. That's where
so
the exit junction, that you can now move to Swan Lake.
The junction right after Mother's Inn on the North Kaneshie stretch up until the dance bar Total junction, all that part have been blocked. I just hope that if there are going to be additional road blockage, it's only important that the communication. So maybe you are close to the media team, you could reach out to them so they come out with a clear plan on some of these outstanding
roadblocks. Okay, so you are still watching CNI Extra here on Citi TV. Still to come. Concerned citizens of Tema withdraw lawsuit threat as city authorities pledge to protect Tema Children's Park and the library. Kindly stay with us. We're back with more stories.
The biggest food and music festival is coming to Accra this October. The Eat Drink Music Festival is bringing together the hottest food and drink joints, DJs and musicians for 2 unforgettable days.
Wait for the drums.
Come out with the family to enjoy local and continental foods, drinks and fun activities like video games, arts installations, face painting and many more.
Is you rolling?
It's happening at the Untamed Empire, Accra, on the 28th and 29th of October. Buy your tickets now on all networks by dialing *714*500#.
Oh yeah!
Eat, drink, music. The ultimate festival experience.
Here goes Goodmanson. It's low.
And it's a goal! Is it? VAR? Goal disallowed? Unbelievable. From the tension in the dugout to the sweat on the field, it all comes together in the studio on Friday night.
Are you going where I think you are going? Coach, you are going there. Look.
Whether it's boxing, athletics, or football, Sports Panorama has you covered. From the prayer of the rabbi.
Numo, commit us into the house of God.
To the sound of Donkomi, the most riveting sports show on the airwaves will have you at rapt attention, entertained, and in bouts of laughter from start to finish. Sports Panorama is on 97.3 Citi FM from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. every Friday.
welcome back. This is CNR Extra here on Citi TV. Let's bring you some more stories. And concerned citizens of Tema, they have withdrawn a lawsuit that threats as city authorities pledge to protect the Tema Children's Park and Library. Let's bring you that insight.
A group calling itself the Concerned Citizens of Tema has backed down on its decision to sue city authorities over an attempt to sell the Tema Children's Park, which has the community's only operational library. This, according to the group, follows an assurance by the Tema Metropolitan Assembly and the Tema Development Corporation to stop construction works by a Chinese developer on the 6.2-acre land and ensure the usage of the facility for its existing purpose. There's more in the following report.
The purported sale of the Tema Children's Park and Library in the Tema West Municipality to a Chinese developer has been met with stiff opposition by residents and many users of the facility. A group, the Concerned Citizens of Tema, as part of its advocacy against the move, earlier this month announced its decision to sue authorities over their plans to sell the facility, citing its dire impact on the socio-economic demands of residents. But the group, at an engagement with the media on Wednesday, rescinded its decision following an agreement with the relevant authorities to stop the ongoing construction works at the site and ensure the usage of the facility for its existing purpose.
Nobody's excited about going to work in the law courts when the parties, because if you go to court today, let's be frank, if we go to court today and then the authorities are called or they are adjoined to the suit and then they come in and they say, we are willing to do what they are saying, there's no case. We'll be asked to go and mediate. So before you go to court, you obviously would mediate, and mediation and arbitration is part of legal processes. So once there's commitment from the agencies or the authorities to say, look, let's work together, you can see the stop signs. You can go around when you're done, you see the stop signs. This is commitment. We didn't put this up. This was put up by the Municipal Assembly to say that going forward, we are stopping any work that is going on here. This place is demarcated for children's park, recreational purposes, as it was intended many years ago.
The group, however, urged city authorities to give the facility a facelift to serve the growing population of the community.
I believe that we can be able to structure conversations that can also bring out beneficial plans, beneficial things that we would love to do on this place. So we don't want to see an empty land where people, squatters, come in here, fill the place up, and then before you know, it's become a squatter zone, another yard of people living illegally. But we are hoping that we can be able to raise this awareness, be able to, with this awareness being raised, be able to also appeal to private developers, private smart commercial-minded contractors who have ideas, how we can be able to make use of this property. And we had, look, somebody has a church on the park. I'm sure you will know if you go around, you see it.
Additionally, the Tema Development Corporation reaffirmed its commitment to protect the interest of residents through accountability.
The intent and purpose or the allocation for the said park has not changed. So the Community 5 Children's Park, which is originally on the TDC layout, remains same as a recreational center. And at the meeting, all issues of the lease agreement, MOU, and other permitting issues came up. And Tema West clarified that there's been a permit application for a fence wall, but even that one has not been granted because all the discussions.
So at least it's good that the lawsuit has been withdrawn. The city authorities are protecting the park. But Jude, my problem is how to develop this park. Because if we say it's a children's park, then we are looking at a space where children can go play, learn, and come back home. But what can we say about our various children's parks in this particular country? If Sunderland Park that we knew when we were young, children's park just opposite the National Theatre, you pay about 5 Ghana cedis or a cedi or 3 Ghana cedis just to go and have some fun there. When you go to the Ashanti region, the Rattray Park, what has become of it? So is it that this thing of developing a space where children can play is becoming a big problem? And if it's not being checked, very soon we will find buildings on all the parks that ideally should have been created for children to play.
I mean, it's also a problem of our maintenance, really, and how bad our maintenance culture is as a people. I mean, stadiums were built 2008.
Yes.
For the Africa Cup of Nations. Look at the states they are in right now. Whereas if you go to the UK, the new Wembley was commissioned in 2007, and look at the state it's in as compared to the Accra Sports Stadium, the Sipon Stadium, the Tamale Sports Stadium, I believe was given a facelift. So even that one, there are also issues with it. So it's clearly a maintenance problem, and our parks have not been left out. Unfortunately, we have the National Parks and Gardens. I believe they are supposed to be overseeing some of these things. But
resource constraints.
Yeah, they are not. The funding for them is not really the same, and not much attention has been focused there. In the build-up to the 2020 elections, conversations about the need for a maintenance ministry of the sort. So, I mean, we had the procurement ministry, which was headed by Joe Asafo. I saw some CSO push that maybe it's about time we get a maintenance ministry, or at least an authority, to be able to be directly involved in some of these things. Because, mind you, with this particular story we are discussing, it's not only a park for children to come and have or engage in recreational activities.
As well.
It has the only operational public library in Tema. And you're wondering, why would you want to, first off, as the news was at the time, sell it off to a Chinese who was rumored to be in the process of building a casino? What purpose does it serve the people of Tema, right? Recently, people were called to the bar. Quite a number of people, when this issue was discussed on the City Breakfast Show on radio, called in and said, see, I studied to get called to the bar at that library that is being... So clearly, I mean, it's about time we take these issues very seriously.
It's very sad, because at least if you don't have parks and where to take children to play, then what kind of society are we building? Let's move away from this story and take you to Malam here in Accra, where the traders, or the Malam market traders, are complaining that the place got flooded, but the city authorities are not doing what is expected of them. Let's bring you that insight.
Following the recent flood in Malam Market in the Ablekuma North constituency of the Greater Accra region, traders at the Malam Odoko markets have expressed dissatisfaction with authorities, accusing them of neglect. Affected traders are urgently calling on authorities to come to their aid and address the perennial flooding issue in the market. City News' Christopher Kevin Estima visited the market and found the following report, which is presented by Hawa Idrisu Mustafa.
The Malam Odoko market has been experiencing continuous flooding, exacerbated by recent heavy rains, causing extensive damage to the properties of the market women. According to the traders, this has become a daily occurrence, and the aftermath of this catastrophic flooding has left them in a state of despair.
Market ni mu ewura yen shop mu sese yenyema. Me say me tissues ne me disposal plates ne enyema ni nyina say. Nsuo no ojina nsuo ni ma, it's above your knee. Nsuo ni de asay enyema nkasa.
First one around 3 to 4 nim. Anana market koso. It's start here no. Emu ye den afi na yehu sensuo no gata bi wo echiro yehu sensuo na ebuso ho no mo a eba gidigidi na ha nyina ye mama fonyoma sei ye emu ne ade na enya agrokra.
In an interview with Citi News, the Member of Parliament for Ablekuma North, Sheila Battels, explained that her office has received a list of affected persons and her team is currently working to assist these individuals in getting back to their trade.
In fact, at the time that it rained, we had contractors who had come over because we have an allocation for some drains. So we were actually specifying the areas where we wanted the drains to be, and we were at Bintu when the rains actually started. And that was one of the areas that we had assigned or allocated for the drains when it happened. So we had to put a stop to it and then continue, because most of the areas really had been badly affected. The following day, we continued to visit some of the victims across the various electoral areas, so to ascertain what was going on and also to offer them some support. So we did that for a number of days. Malam Market and Odoko Market, I have started a particular program there a few months ago. I think it was somewhere around April. I worked with First Atlantic Bank, and we set up a fund for the market people to give them 100,000 cedis. So it was spread between the Malam markets and then the other core markets. There were specific people who came to me with that request, and they brought their own list of beneficiaries. And then we worked with them to create that program for them. And this has been running. In fact, we started with 40 people. It grew to 58 at the last time that I checked.
She also expressed her concern over the situation and mentioned that her office is collaborating with the Ministry of Works and Housing to find a solution to this ongoing issue.
The problem is that most of the areas behind the Lafa have been filled, and people have constructed buildings all over that place. Even right behind the markets, that place has been filled, and, buildings have been constructed there. So currently, as we speak, the Ramsar sites we have where all the water, the outflow is supposed to go, we don't have anywhere for the water to go. So even though the assembly had done a bit of work in desilting the drains, the first rains, we didn't have too big a problem, but that heavy rain actually affected everywhere. Every single electoral area was affected. And
So the Mala market women are not excited about the situation, but the NP for the area, Sheila Battels, she is saying that the issue has to do with the building on waterways behind the market.
Yeah, I mean, Philip, and that is why we voted them into office, to be able, together with the district assembly, check all of these things, irregularities that happen in these constituencies, and make sure that the laws apply. Because what's the point in knowing this and not taking action? What's the point of leadership then? So I think it's important that once they become aware of some of these occurrences, they are, together with the district assemblies, put in place the necessary sanctions and efforts really to make sure that all of these things are checked. I mean, when she's in Ablekuma North. I mean, you quite recall not too long ago at the Odoko intersection, there was a major issue with the traffic light. It wasn't working for God knows how long. People got hit there. There was a major accident there. Then the following day or a week later, they were seen together with her and some other people there trying to. I mean, why do you wait until something very serious would have happened, would happen before you get to work? So I think it's a step in the right direction. I mean, admitting that the problem is there. What now has to be done is to ensure that there's a level of some commitment really to making sure that the problem is rectified, addressed once and for all.
You're still watching CN Extra here on Citi TV, still to come. Majority in Parliament wants government to recapitalize the National Investment Bank, that is NIB, to shore up its operations. And let's stay with us. We're back with more stories. And you welcome back. And the majority in Parliament wants government to recapitalize NIB to shore up its operations. Let's bring you this insight.
Majority in Parliament wants government to recapitalize the National Investment Bank (NIB) to shore up its operations. The caucus says although the government has injected over 850 million Ghana cedis into the bank, it still needs more funds to remain relevant. Citi News' Ni Ayikwe Okain reports.
Recent media reports suggest the possibility of the Agricultural Development Bank (ADB) acquiring the National Investment Bank (NIB), which currently carries liabilities exceeding 2 billion Ghana cedis. The minority in Parliament thus urged the government to undertake a significant restructuring of the ailing National Investment Bank in order to prevent the bank's potential liquidation. At a press briefing on Wednesday, the Majority Chief Whip Frank Anodompre backed calls by the minority for the government to recapitalize the NIB to shore up its operations.
Apart from the sovereign guarantee being given to guards, the current finance minister led the effort to raise an amount of 800 million Ghana cedis, which was given to NIB. Then again, they added additional 57 million, making 857 million, which was pushed into the bank's activities and operations to shore up its profits and activities. I think that the government has done some good effort, has put in some good effort, but it still stands to reason that because of the challenges in the financial sector, the bank is still demanding some recapitalization, some more effort, some more oxygen to be given to them so that they'll be able to work and remain relevant in our industrial drive.
The Majority Chief Whip, however, accused the NDC government of spending over 500 million Ghana cedis on non-banking institutions, adding that this has contributed to the current state of the NIB.
I had mentioned to you that the situation was that some 500 million under their reign, when the NDC was in power. I don't like to do NDC and MPP, but this is a fact. Some 500 million was given to non-financial institutions. And as we speak,
a recent report that indicated that the possibility of ADB acquiring NIB, which currently has liabilities exceeding 2 billion Ghana cedis. The majority says that this is false, and it's telling the minority that do not politicize this issue and that the government must recapitalize the bank. Mind you, Adongo also appeared on the show yesterday, that is eyewitness news, and saying that Anodompre do not really understand the issues.
Philip, when you have a bank that has not published its financial reports since 2017, then that's clearly a serious issue because the law requires that the banks do that. Since 2017, they've not done that. The minority also alleged that the bank has outsourced its treasury function to a brokerage firm. That is quite a serious allegation to make against the bank that is really funded by the state. And I mean, since this government came into office, with the banking sector collapse, we've had the CBG formed. There's also the National Development Bank. And the question a lot of industry experts are asking is, why not use the money for the development bank to fund the NIB, right? So you get a sense that the NIB as a bank is on its knees. There's no denying in that. The only thing is that the majority say that government has committed some resources to it, whereas those in the minority feel that it's not enough, and they go on to accuse government of trying to sell it off to their cronies. I think these are very serious allegations to make, and I expect that in the coming days, the central bank should take up this matter seriously, the finance ministry as well, and all well-meaning Ghanaians. I think that it's NIB should not be allowed to go through the kind of predicament they are going through in terms of how it's being run. The minority don't go on to make very wild allegations to say that the bank is being run by an MD who is staying in Canada and all of those things. But I think that is serious, and we all can admit that to an extent the bank is not running as efficiently as we expect it to.
Alright, so you watch that space, you see how it unfolds. But for now, this is how we end today's edition of CNI Extra here on Citi TV. My name is Philip Nilati. I did this with Jude Mensah Duncan. Many thanks for your time, and keep watching Citi TV.